Sakan is a little distracted today. Ah. And that makes it the third time she walked into the kitchen bench top. Be careful. Bench top looks very expensive. Really? You worry about bench top. What about me, girl? Something on your mind? You remember I went on a date? Sakan mentioned it a while back. It was on my first day of work, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, why? Sakan's usual smile is replaced by a deep frown today. Big hug. Oh, it's not working out? If it happens to be someone as cute as you, where is the hope for us, for all of us then? Okay, you made me smile. Are you both done? Rue is never done flirting, if that's not obvious by now. Shall we get back to work now, or only after your frivolous flirting? What about your frivolous flirting, huh? Huh? Anyway. Sorry, Chief. Please say something about it, Rue. Please. Please. Please say something about it. Come on, you're snarky, do it. Damn. Sorry. That was scary. Somehow, Ida always manages to sneak up on me with ease. She has an imposing physical presence, but she is quiet as a needle. Rue, can you do this for me? A cook stacks a dozen trays of eggs on my desktop. Oops. Or not oops, but wow. Alright. Before I could think it was the end of it, she stacks a dozen more trays right next to the first. Ah! We need this done in before lunch. How do I even... I'm not aware which aspect of my physique screams egg cracking machine. Please, Rue, the cook pleads. She knows I can't say no. Fine. At least they have been giving me more variation in my tasks. Instead of staying with my usual group, I'm sitting with Kiri for lunch. As a Sue, she could have her lunch with the rest of the residents, yet she always stays back with the cooks. As always, I leave a gap between us. Others tried to beckon me over, but I gave them a small headshake while pointing at Kiri. Kiri doesn't seem to mind me using her as an excuse to have some peace and quiet. What do you usually do at nap time, Kiri? I want to learn more about you. What do you like? Kiri pauses. Her eyes sweep the room. Soap operas. Oh, it's so like you. Ah, cute. I meant it in a good way, of course. What do you like about them, love? Romance, subplots, and character growth. And you? What I like? We are sharing. This sounds cliche, but I cannot stop the fluttering of my heart. Yeah, I love Rue's just like bubbliness, you know. I kind of have some of that in me, at least when I am in environments that I feel comfy with, which I honestly feel like I've stunted my own growth of that sort, but, you know, I can always go out there and learn some more and get in some more different types of environments. I'm sure I could. I like sex. E-girls? I mean, it's not wrong. I mean, you've been kind of basically doing dear wrong as much as you can. It's been very clear there. Is that better? Anything else? Would money sound too superficial? I like most people. I don't have a lifetime hobby that I'm passionate about. It's not important. Let's watch your shows together sometime, okay? Singing, dancing, fishing, gardening, clubbing. I can barely stick to one thing before I replace it with a new trendy thing. We exchange light banter as the lunch break goes on. Kiri's adorable eyes watch me pick at my plate, separating them by ingredient before eating them in different combinations. Does Dirong know? Kiri looks around before leaning closer to me. Rue was a military soldier. No? Is that going to be a problem? Not a problem, per se. Maybe. Would she? Maybe. Talk about it if you can. If it will drive a wedge between us, I have less incentive to bring it up. And if Dirong dislikes me over a past I can't change, was our friendship even that strong in the first place? I cringe at my phrasing. Is what we have still friendship? No, it seems a bit more than that. It isn't every day that Dirong takes a nap during nap time. She is at her usual place. Instead of being engrossed in pastime activities, she is sprawling on her favorite chair and taking up the whole length. Upon closing our distance, I find a very awake Dirong, whose eyes stay affixed to the dark ginger ceiling. Hey, Groggy. Hey. Hmm? Hmm. Durong stammers. It must be illegal to be this cute, surely? I was going to say an endearment like you. Ah! It's simple. Look at me and call it a lovely trait. Cute. Ah. Eh. Cute. Like, hey, nice hips. That's too physical. Personality traits generally work better. What if I was conscious of my hips, for example? I can't change that. I'm sorry, they're nice, I promise. No, Dirong, that was an example. I'm hopeless at this, am I? How's your day been? Dirong changes the topic later, champ. I really am starting to really get into their whole thing. Who knew eggs could beat you instead? My wrists are still crazy sore. That's rough. Dirong nods. Sorry, I always complain about work when you ask. Yeah, you do. Mincing words isn't Dirong's forte. I should know this by now, but that's fine. I like hearing you talk. Cute. Dirong offers me a soft smile with her lovely set of lips. Her gaze holds onto mine with a genuine fascination. How about you? She sighs. What's wrong? Nothing. It's not your problem. Frankly, I don't know if it's a problem. You can always talk to me, love. I'd like to hear you talk, too. They offered me a raise. What? That's great news, Dirong. It's odd to even consider a raise to be a problem. More spending money is never a bad thing. Dirong doesn't look too happy. I wonder if there's something I missed. Yes, it is good news. Perhaps Curie has the right idea. Should make myself more available to Dirong's emotions. Can I be honest? You never talk about yourself much, Dirong. I feel excluded from your life. I want to learn more about you. About myself, like what? Your childhood, to start with. Dirong bites and releases her lower lip. A comfortable tension forms in the warm air of the afternoon. Dirong's red eyes char, scrutinizing my own. You don't have to. Let's change the topic, okay? Actually, I give Dirong the few seconds of silence she needs. I didn't want you to dislike me. Dislike you? It is ironic. I thought I was the one with something to hide. Dirong, I only ask because I care. I will never dislike you, okay? I know. I was being silly. You probably don't know the sigil on my chin. Most Oregons I have met adorn traditional sigil tattoos all over their bodies. I only have fleeting knowledge on the subject, but I believe they represent the household name or pride. That said, only a few Oregons in here share a similar chin sigil with Dirong. Dirong breathes in before she continues. A lot of imperial nobles were granted these. You are a noble? Do you know how the nobles back in the war were split into the loyalists and the usurpers? That's common knowledge, isn't it? Dirong hums in agreement. What do you think happened to those who didn't side with either? I don't know. Wait, you don't mean... My parents were one of those fence-sitters. We were... Dirong pauses to gather her thoughts. We were landowners. Oh. With the exception of industrial and residential areas, before the war, the Empire owned most of the land. Private landowners were few and far between. Hence, they were the envy of the poorer classes. The Imperials distributed these lands to the local nobles in each town, who would screen and rent them out to the commoners at a fixed price point. However, nobles with money could buy the lands outright and rent them out at a higher price. This was arguably one reason that sparked the revolution. What happened to them? They weren't very good people. They cheated on salaries and abused local farmers who rented their lands. Not becoming like your parents. That's awesome. Because Dirong doesn't seem to be like them at all. One of them must have tipped off a group of soldiers. Dirong stops. She trusts me to figure out what happened to them. I'm so sorry. A group of soldiers? Was it the Imperials? Honestly, I don't know. I don't want to know either. Our estate was at the edge of Baturtong. The usurpers were looking into the capital city around that time. What if it was the usurpers who killed her parents? It is a difficult thought to digest. You weren't a merc before you joined, right? Why did you choose to stay with them after the war? Kiang wanted to stay. They were the first group to accept us both. Was Kiang also a noble orphan? This is the best answer I could hope for. Dirong chose the usurpers because of her bond, not because of her feelings toward the current government. So, what do you think? Your parents are not you, Dirong. I would not hate you over that. Of course not. You're too perfect. Eh? Dirong mumbles something under her breath that I find difficult to understand. I figured it was important if she only stares at me instead of repeating it. Do people usually treat you differently, love? As long as I keep my head down, it's not that bad. Oh. Is that why you hated getting a raise? A privileged kid who also gets a promotion. It doesn't sound good. You worked hard for it. Enjoy it, okay? Speaking of sigil tattoos, I noticed Cesare doesn't have them. Is it because she's a gray? She had it removed recently, I believe. She only went gray a few years ago. They were not born gray? Some were, some weren't. I heard a gray's skin is more sensitive. It must be itchy to keep the tattoo on. I can't fathom being a gray Oregon. Not only do you put up with poor health and low life expectancy, but you might also lose a part of your cultural identity. Unlike other races, nymphs are not segregated into subspecies. The most distinctive difference we have is the distribution and density of our body hair. Tell me something else. What is your favorite food? I can eat anything as long as it's healthy. But you must have preferences, right? Beef, pork, chicken. Me? Durham dips her head a little when she blushes. I'm just playing with you. When I can, I will make you something nice, okay? Isn't that too much work? I'm used to it. I'll make something for the whole house? Room? Room is fine. I will need to work around their schedule. So what do you like to eat? Fish. What does curry like? King? We idly spend the rest of the break with each other. I don't bring up my past, trying to keep our conversation lighthearted. So, are you a princess? No, I don't know. Maybe? My father was a far distant cousin of the Empress. Oh. The kitchen and mess hall are getting cleaned up for the day. Usually Kiri would wait to leave with me to the shower, but today is different. Rue, I have a meeting tonight. Your therapy session? No. You'll feed Spirit? Dirung pours too much food. Okay. What sort of meeting is it? I've been here for a while, and there weren't any late meetings that required Kiri to stay back. Usually Kiri and Ida would meet up with Nimgon between breaks to discuss menu and nutritional requirements for residents. Management committee. My head connects with the conversation Ada and Hizari had this morning. Alright, don't be too late. Well, despite the flirting that they had. So for tonight, I will be left alone with Dirung. And Spirit, too, of course. The night webs its deepest blue shadow across the sky, signaling the coming cold. From the height of the building, one may only catch the flickering tops of the light poles. When will she be back? Late, she said. You're not training tonight, love? It is my rest day. We could all use some personal rest days. We weren't left alone often in our room. By the way, Dirung's eyes are fixated on mine. She must be thinking the same thing. Dirung? Dirung shifts closer to me until we're nearly touching. I don't have to reach out to feel the warmth radiating from her body. She holds out her hand until I clasp it with mine. Cute. You want to kiss me? Dirung mouths a silent yes before we close the distance between our lips. Not until something digs into my back do I realize that she has lifted me up and planted me against the ladder. Her hands slide under my shirt and play with the skin there. While I'm happy that her touches have grown bolder and more eager, I miss Dirung's shy and trembling hands. Even with her burning fervor, Dirung is all lips. She is warm and soft and attentive. She is unlike many inexperienced women who would bite down with full force. Her tongue explores the inside of my mouth, asking for my permission. She gasps when I open my mouth to let her in. We press together with my hands on her neck. My fingers dig into her skin, touching and grabbing whatever is within my reach. It doesn't feel enough. I want this to go on for longer. All the time. Forever. My chest aches when I think of the implication. I snap out of my thoughts when she pulls away just far enough to speak against my lips. Can we do more than just kiss? What else do you want to do? Dirung huffs, straining herself to think of words to go with her wants. Can I make you feel good? It depends. How would you... Dirung, what in the fresh hell? Oh boy. Our hands turn towards this disrupted voice. At the door, a woman wearing a metal mask is staring at us. I've seen her in screenshots. We finally see her. Oh boy, this is quite the interruption. The woman is fiddling with the switch on her mask, turning it left and right. It makes a small clicking when it patches goes past each node. King? This is King? Were you two going to have sex on my bed? Sure, you can too. Comedian, great. King sizes me up while her fingers pinch the nub on her strange middle mask. She closes our distance, tilting her head. She's getting a bit too close for my comfort. So it was true. A nymph. The old crow really did it. King's cackles are muffled behind the mask. Durang hasn't reacted to it at all, so I assume it is something she always wears. Don't worry, I am a friend. As a demonstration, King pulls out a small peanut pack out of her pocket. We had nuts on the plane. Does the little one want some? Little one. She doesn't like them. Durang replies in my stead with almost the exact wording I was thinking of. I'm not a big fan of either nuts or vegetables. Her name is Rue. I'm sure your girlfriend can answer for herself. Girlfriend? The body tenses up at the comment with my heart swimming even faster inside the ribcage. I look up to Dirong, who puts on a nonchalant face, as if it was matter-of-factly. Was that what Dirong told Kang on the phone? Without my acknowledgement, Dirong has already considered me her girlfriend. Has she told the same thing to her squad mates? You okay, Rue? Yeah, it's nothing. I smile, trying to fight the sinking feeling inside my stomach. My attempt is futile. Dirong is sharp. She must have figured out that something was wrong. It's nothing, really. Rue Teriwadi. Everyone calls me Rue. I flash Kang my biggest smile. Name's Kiang. I go by Kai, though. Kai. Dirong is lucky her last name is more common. If their family was a part of the corrupted monarchy, it makes sense for Kai to avoid being associated with it.